A recent letter to a newspaper was recently unearthed that has some people scratching their heads. Now, apparently, New York Magazine found a letter from Donald Trump's secretary written in 1992 that has some people wondering if Donald Trump actually wrote it himself. Now, this is, like I said, New York Magazine. And what they were doing is that they were basically going to publish a 50th anniversary issue. And so they looked at some old, previously published letters to the editor, and they found an amazing gem. This was written on December 7th, 1992, allegedly by a woman named Carolyn Gallego. Now, this was apparently Trump's secretary, or was it? I'll get to that in a minute. But she wrote, based on the fact that I work for Donald Trump as his secretary, and therefore know him well, I think he treats women with great respect. Contrary to what Julie Baumgold applied in her article, I do not believe any man in America gets more calls from women wanting to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women, the most successful women, all women love Donald Trump. That is, I swear to God, verbatim, published in a paper by his secretary. I admit that I had, and you noticed, I had great difficulty reading that with a straight face. Yes, I'm sure people, all women love Donald Trump. Carolyn, if that's your real name. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, come on, Jeff, that's totally unfair. A little too far. He wouldn't actually do that, would he? I don't know about that. We'll get to that in a minute. But look, just looking at how the sentence structure or the sentences are structured and what phrases are used, it sounds very Trumpian. Okay? Like I said, I think he treats women with great respect, unlike that person who said differently. And no man gets more calls from women he wanted to see him, meet him, or go out with him. The most beautiful women. The most successful women. Yeah, I know. Totally couldn't be Trump. Look, he has a big habit. If you notice his Twitter, if you follow his Twitter, which, number one, I'm sorry. That is most unfortunate. You would see his tweets, and you notice that he embellishes a lot of words. For example, I love the chocolate cake thing, right? He said, we're now having dessert, and we had the most beautiful piece of chocolate cake you've ever seen. It's just chocolate cake. But no, it's the most beautiful chocolate cake you've ever seen. Got to embellish that. Think about when he was passing out's a nice term, a nice way to put it, paper towels to the people in Puerto Rico. He was like, oh, this is the most soft, beautiful paper towels. Dude, the regular paper towels. But he's got to do that to everything, right? The embellishments. Take, for example, another thing that he said in the campaign trail. I have a great relationship with the African Americans. As you possibly have heard, I just have great respect for them. And they like me. I like them. 2 examples, but I think you get the point. And if you go to his Twitter account, you'll see a lot more examples. Okay. And for example, Mashable actually crunched the numbers on this, if you can believe that. And they said that Trump tweeted the word best 411 times, successful 87 times, and beautiful 158 times. Now, does this prove it's Trump? Not necessarily. But just look at it. Just read it. It's Trump. Of course it's Trump. It sounds exactly like him. Now, if you're still not convinced, and I don't know how, but okay, maybe you're skeptical, consider this. During the primary in 2016, the Washington Post revealed that Trump had previously posed as 2 different spokespeople, John Barron and John Miller, which he would use to brag about himself. Now, Trump, of course, is like, no, that's John Miller, John Barron. I don't know who you're talking about. I would never, ever do that. Fake news, sad, right? But the paper then later dug up a lawsuit from 1990 where Trump confirmed that, oh, by the way, I did use the alias John Barron. Quote, I believe on occasion I use that name. Of course he did. He would also call into radio shows posing as either John Miller or John Barron, again, in order for the sole purpose of bragging about himself. Now, even if you don't believe any of that, if you think that's all fake news, okay, fine. So let's just go and ask the secretary. I mean, this secretary obviously has to exist, right? I mean, and if she likes Trump as much as she says in the letter, then she'll be more than willing to talk to the press and clear this whole thing up immediately, right? Well, let's look and see. Now, who was Trump's secretary at the time? Well, it was Norma Forderer. Now, she retired in 2006. So she was a longtime secretary, and then she was replaced by Rhonda Graff. Now, back then, this back in '92, this was when this was written. Forderer would have been his secretary. Forderer never wrote any letters like this. So where's Miss Gallego? Nobody knows. Nobody knows if she even exists. I mean, even according to the Washingtonian, longtime allies of Trump, for example, his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, says, I don't know anybody named Carolyn Gallego. Never heard of her. And you know why? It's because she's not real. That's not a real person. It's literally a fake person made up for just to give Donald Trump positive press. It's amazing. Now, yes, there are people named Carolyn Gallego, but I guarantee none of them did this. No, none of them worked for Trump, and none of them wrote this stupid letter. You know, our president's a narcissistic child, okay? And unfortunately, he's always been like this. This is not a new development, okay? In fact, like the fact that he was even elected is kind of a stain in the country. I don't want to do it. Okay. Look, I'm going to get into a Hillary Clinton rant. I don't want to. But my God, think of the person that lost. What an absolute embarrassment. I know I've already pounded this into the ground, right? And I'm really tired of rehashing 2016. But my God, man, who loses to this person? Who loses to this guy? And not only that, but the Clinton campaign played Pied Piper and elevated this guy above the pack. And yet they lost. And yet somehow Hillary Clinton still controls the Democratic Party. Amazingly enough, the Clintons are still a major part of the Democratic establishment. Amazing. Look, that's far more mild than I actually want to get into. Because, again, I'm really holding back on the DNC and the Democratic Party. I don't want to rehash this point. But the whole point is that we have a president that makes up fake people to promote himself. You know, online we actually have a word for or a phrase for that. We call them sock puppets. So Donald Trump is like the OG sock puppet and the OG troll. Amazing. And now he's president. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.